Here's another one of my mini go-kart projects right here. This is another Murry, like the ones that they sold at Walmart. And I'll go over some modifications and stuff that I've done to it, and to kind of give you an idea about it. I bought this one off a couple whose the daughter was looking at getting into a motorcycle or something, and they wanted to get rid of it, so I bought it off them. It used to have a full roll cage on it, but you notice it's just got a roll bar on it now. If I pan over here, you can see what is left of the roll bar is right there. This last summer during our family reunion, a stick out in the backyard got stuck in the throttle cable and it went wide open. The kids that were riding it bailed and it went and crashed into a tree. The front of the roll bar took the brunt of the abuse, and it didn't bend the frame or the suspension, which I was pleased with. All I did was cut it off at the back. You see at the very top of the roll cage up there, and at the very front, which you can see by the front wheels. Cut it off, and it's no worse for wear. It kind of looks a little weird right now, but it's okay. These are pretty decent go-karts. They got a good frame, they got a good front suspension compared to other Murrys. As you can see, I got a spring on the brake right there because the brake tends to come loose and it'll flop backwards to where you can't use it. That's a safety hazard. So I've done some things here to eliminate that. That's one of the problems of these go-karts. The bolt, which is right down here, that attaches that to, you need to have a lock washer on it, and you need to have enough clearance where it'll still work, but it keeps it tight to where it'll stay in this groove right here, because if this gets loose, it'll fall over this way and you have no brake. That's another reason why I put the spring right there, is to keep this in place like that. It's just a simple little thing to do, and it helps out. You can see I use pipe insulation as a cushion. Now you can see on there I didn't wrap it, but right there I did wrap it. And the best thing to use to wrap it with is Gorilla Tape. It's real durable. It takes the sun, the abuse of the sun, and it lasts. And I need to double up my cushions down here and rewrap it. Now on the seat, you notice that if you leave the seat out in the sun, it'll just fall apart. I painted it with Rust-Oleum, oil-based Rust-Oleum. And another trick is to really soak the threads. You can see the threads down there. Soak them down. You can see where it's split. The seat split. And if you noticed, I painted the foam inside there. The reason is that the ultraviolet rays will really break down that foam. If you paint it, it'll put a skin on it and it'll last longer. This go-kart's good size for adults. I switched over to the knobby tires on this thing, and it gets a lot better traction. You can see on back there's knobby tires. Now if I pan over, these are the tires that used to be on it. Now if you look, I grooved them. That was because there was no sideways traction, and when these tires was on this other go-kart, they would spin out, slide sideways. You couldn't get around the yard. With a little bit of dew on the yard, it would just spin out. That's the reason why I grooved them. But then this is another project that I'll be getting rid of. But to go back to this one, you can see the knobby tires back on there, and it don't ride bad. I have an old cushion that I throw in the seat to let everybody use it. It helps out on the comfort level. As far as frame wise, it looks to be built pretty well on these go-karts. You just got to check the wheels every now and then, the bearings inside the front wheels. And that's just a common thing you need to do. Let me get this off. The motor is a Tecumseh. It's got a torque drive system, which is the clutch system, which is similar to what they use on four-wheelers. It works really well on this one. It has a lot of torque to be able to pull. I've been lucky with this carburetor. The Tecumseh carburetors seem to have a problem about falling apart. I've got another one that I had to replace the whole carburetor on it. Couldn't do nothing with it. I built a foam air filter for this thing. It's just a square unit that I went down to the auto parts store because I couldn't find a regular air filter for this thing. And just got a big chunk of square foam, cut it out with a pair of scissors, and put it in there. The plastic fuel tank, I know people look at that and say, think that's a bad idea. That's a great idea. Right now I'm having problems with the Chinese motors because they rust on the inside. Gasoline does not prevent metal from rusting. And so with this, I've had pretty good luck with the Tecumseh motors. This one runs real well. I've modified the throttle to bypass the governor system. And as you can see, the line comes in from the side right there. It makes it run better and stuff like that. On these, I would advise, at least changing the oil once a year and running synthetic oil in there. I put it up on the block right there to do some work to it, and the stinking thing ran out of gas, wouldn't you know. This has a makeshift kind of fender on there that come from the factory that way, and they work out real good. The front, there's no fenders, and that's where you're going to get all the crap thrown on you. But this is a durable go-kart. I'm going to hang on to this one because it fits the adults and kids and everybody now, and it rides good and works good, so I'm going to hang on to it. Another tip on all your wheels on your go-karts, put slime in there. And don't put a little, put a bunch in there, and then fill them up good and run it around the yard a couple times, and that will keep you from having flats for a long time. It's just the guys that break your tires down will really hate you once you do that. The guys down in my tire shop, they hate me for that, but I like to run without flats. But this is a pretty good setup. I've replaced the belt once on this, and I just did it just for giggles, just to upgrade it. This has got a good cover system. It seems to be quite durable. Like I said, change oil, keep good gas in there. If at all possible, put a fuel filter on there. And other than that, I ain't going to do much more to this go-kart right here. It's durable, runs good, was built right. And other than that, let me just pan back and, oops, call this video good.